Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Ascension St. Vincent Dolphin Pavilion. My name is Kelly, and today I'm joined by a few of my fellow animal care team members, as well as 6 pretty amazing dolphins. We have Natalie on everybody's left-hand side over here. She is working with 3 dolphins by the names of Hemingway, Maui, and Trooper. And on your right-hand side over here, we've got Kylie, and she is hanging out with Chemo and Oren. Now, today you guys are going to get a special behind-the-scenes look at what a training session might entail here at the zoo. Now, you've probably noticed we had a bit of a nasty storm a couple of days ago, and that caused all of our video and our music and lights. We have some technical difficulties as a result from those power outages, so we are doing a keeper chat and a training session for you guys instead today. But honestly, that's really special and cool for you guys too, because you get to see what we do here at the zoo when it's not a presentation. So we do lots of training sessions with these guys every single day. So we're going to interact with them at least 4 or 5 different times every day to make sure they're getting their full diet, and we're working on a variety of things when we do so. So our training sessions here at the zoo might look like a variety of different things. So sometimes we might be training new behaviors with the dolphins. We train them to do lots of things, whether it's small mimicry behaviors over there, or those higher energy behaviors you guys might see in those presentations. Every time we're interacting and training these dolphins, we're helping them stay mentally and physically active and engaged. Now, some of our training sessions might be enrichment sessions. So the dolphins have a wide variety of toys and enrichment items that they get to interact with every day at the zoo. We usually like to mix it up. They're going to see a different combination of toys every day. And it's really fun and interesting for them. It helps break up their day-to-day. It also helps strengthen our bonds with them too when we get to play with them using these toys. So you'll notice Natalie over there on your left-hand side, she's got a hula hoop with lots of kelp on it. It's really fun for them. Now, some of our training sessions might be those presentations that you guys may have seen before. So even though it is a presentation, we do still consider it a training session. It might not be very obvious, but in those training sessions, we are working different behaviors with our dolphins, and we might even be training them to do different things as well. Now, finally, some of our training sessions might involve veterinary sessions. So we work really, really hard to train a variety of veterinary behaviors with our dolphins. That way, if they ever needed any sort of medical procedure, they're already trained to do so, so it's much easier for them. So a really good example of those veterinary behaviors that we train in these guys is a nebulizer treatment. So one of our dolphins here in this group, he's working with Natalie over there. He receives a voluntary nebulizer treatment every single day, twice a day. And so what does that entail? He is trained to rest his chin on the edge of the pool and allow us to put a nebulizer device over his blowhole, and then he voluntarily breathes in some medications to treat a lung infection. And he does this twice a day, every day of the week. So it's really, really important that we work hard to train those behaviors in our dolphins in case they ever need that sort of treatment. Now, another good example of those husbandry or veterinary behaviors that we train include blood draws. So we have all probably gone to the doctor and gotten our blood drawn before. It's not exactly fun. It's not something we look forward to. Maybe we even get a little bit nervous. We work really hard to train our dolphins to allow us to voluntarily draw blood from their tail. And this takes a lot of hard work. Now, we can also check their eyes, their mouth, their ears. We train them to do voluntary ultrasounds too. They get checkups with our wonderful veterinary staff every year. They get those annual exams just like some of us do. And so it's really important that we've got all of those behaviors trained. Now, like I said before, we've got 6 biggest bottlenose dolphins here in this pool, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about each and every one of them. So the one that I am working with right now, his name is Jet. Now Jet is one of the largest and one of the most athletic dolphins here at the zoo. He's also probably our most dominant male. He's incredibly athletic, so you're going to see him swimming around the pool, showing off his athleticism today. Now one way you can tell Jet apart, besides his size, is he's got a dark coloration above his mouth on either side, and it kind of looks a little bit like a dolphin mustache. Now working with Kylie over there on everybody's right-hand side, we have Oren. Oren is one of our teenage boys here at the zoo. There he goes. So a good, easy way to tell Oren apart is that he has an underbite. So all the dolphins have a slight underbite, however, Oren's is very pronounced and very easy to see. Now one unique fun fact about Oren is that when he is jumping out of the water, he tends to wiggle his flippers as fast as he can. This is not something we trained intentionally, but it is a quirk that's unique to Oren. So if you see the dolphins doing some of those high energy jumps, and you see one of them waving at you as hard as he can, it's probably Oren. Now joining Oren is Chemo. So Chemo, he is the largest member of our dolphin family. He is weighing in at over 500 pounds. He's also incredibly athletic too, just like Jet. Now Chemo, he's easy to tell apart, maybe the easiest dolphin here that we can identify. If you look really closely at his mouth, the very front of his rostrum, it's a bright white color. That's a really easy way to tell Chemo from the rest. Now on the other side of the pool over there, we've got Natalie. She's working with 3 individual dolphins. So we have Hemingway. He is who I was telling you about earlier with that nebulizer treatment that he gets every day. But if it's not a nebulizer treatment session, and you guys see him just doing a normal session like we're doing right now, he's a little bit trickier to identify. So one tip that you can do is look really closely at his mouth. So the very top of his mouth, it curves upwards in a little bit of a duck-nose shape. Now Hemingway, he came to us from Marineland, another facility down in Florida. But it was determined that our pod is going to be a better fit for him, so he was transported over here. And we're very, very lucky to have him. Now working with Hemingway and Natalie, we have our 2 youngest and smallest dolphins at the zoo. Their names are Maui and Trooper. So Maui is 1 year older than Trooper. He's about 6 years old. He is also the most slender. So one way you can tell Maui apart is if you look really closely underneath his chin, he has a gray coloration that kind of comes to a point and looks a little bit like a beard. Now our other small one over there is named Trooper. So Trooper is our youngest dolphin. He's also a rescue dolphin. He was found stranded on a beach when he was only a few weeks old. He was incredibly young. He still had part of his umbilical cord attached. There he goes, showing off for you guys down there in the slush still. Now Trooper is very easy to identify, not just based on his small size. So if you look closely, Trooper has some scarring along his back, and that is as a result of those sunburns he got when he was stranded. Now it doesn't seem to bother him anymore, but he did suffer some sunburns, but it does make it very easy to identify him from the rest of the dolphins. Now these are Atlantic bottlenose dolphins, but the term bottlenose is just a little bit misleading. So the bottle shape is actually not a nose at all. It's their mouth, and it's called a rostrum. Now inside that rostrum, they have 80 to 100 cone-shaped teeth. Now one really cool fact about dolphins' teeth is that they only get 1 set. So if they lose them or break them or wear them down, that's all they get. The dolphins have good eyesight both above and below the water, so it's really easy for them to be able to see Natalie and Kylie asking for them for behaviors up in the glass under the water there, but they can also see me here at stage if I wanted to ask them for things as well. And behind those eyes, they've got a pinhole on either side, and that's their ear. So it's really hard to tell where a dolphin's ear is because they don't have those external ear flaps like we do. It would just slow them down as they're swimming, but they do have little pinholes and pretty good hearing as well. Now they have those pectoral flippers. Those are those 2 small ones, one on either side. So the pectoral flipper used for steering, and it's their brake system. A cool thing about those pectoral flippers is that if you were to take an x-ray of their flippers, you would notice that they have bones. They've got 5 unique digits just like we do, but it's more streamlined to have it in that flipper shape. Now moving on down the body, they've got that big half-moon-shaped dorsal fin on their back. So not all species of dolphins and whales have a dorsal fin, but bottlenose dolphins do. Now it's thought that the dorsal fin is used for stabilization as they're swimming through the water, and it also might be used to help them regulate their body temperature. Now from that dorsal fin all the way down to their tail, that is the powerhouse of their dolphin, and that's called the peduncle. So it's a really fun word for that part of their tail that's incredibly muscular. So the dolphins, they're gonna pump that peduncle and that tail up and down just like they're doing at the glass. And that is gonna generate a lot of speed and a lot of power. So you might see these guys jump at heights of up to 14 or 15 feet off the surface of the water, and that's because of those strong tails. At the very end of that tail, they have the classic dolphin tail shape, and that is called the dolphin flukes. Now every pair of dolphin flukes looks just a little bit different. They're unique to them. So you might notice some are big, some are small, some might overlap or have notches or different markings. That's because they're all unique. And those tail flukes, that's where we would draw those voluntary blood samples from those as well. Now, last but not least, they do have that blowhole on the very top of their head, and that's where the dolphins breathe from. Now, the dolphins, they breathe air like us, but they can hold their breath longer than we can. Usually they can hold their breath from anywhere between 5 to 8 or 10 minutes, but they often come up to breathe more regularly than that. A really fun fact about the dolphin blowhole, it's not only where they breathe, but it's also where they make their unique vocalizations and sounds. So dolphins can make 30 to 40 different types of vocalizations, and all those noises are coming from their blowhole, not their mouths. So they're manipulating air sacs around the blowhole in order to make these really neat sounds. They don't have vocal cords like we do, so it's not coming from their mouth. Now, the trainers here at the zoo, we're here every day of the year. We're here on the weekends, we're here on holidays, when the weather is bad. Sometimes we might even sleep here to make sure that the dolphins are always getting the utmost care possible. So we care a lot about them. However, we care about their counterparts out in the wild as well, and there are some things that you guys can do to help. So one easy thing you can do is limit your use of those single-use plastics. I know we live in Indiana, we don't live right next to an ocean. However, all of our waterways are connected, and eventually those rivers and streams, they make their way down into the Gulf of Mexico and into the ocean. We can also shop for seafood that is fished sustainably. So if you see a logo on your cans of seafood that says Dolphin Safe, that lets you know that it was fished responsibly and it wasn't creating a negative impact on the ecosystem. So those couple things, they're really impactful, small changes that we can all make in our lives in order to have make a difference. But now that you know just a little bit more about the dolphins here at the zoo and their counterparts out in the wild, we're going to turn on some music and just celebrate how amazing they are.
So I think all the splash thing. Oh, that one went deep. Told you they can hit it. Oh man, right next to the edge too. That's pretty cool. Missed a good jump on that side. So much going on. I don't know where to go.
Well, we want to thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your visit here to Indianapolis.